Hey guys, Mulltiy here. Today we talk about the tier list, the DPS rankings for or after the second week of Gnomeregan. Here I have the video open from myself from last week, as you can see here. So we can a little bit look alike what has changed, and then we make the tier list. There are no big changes, there are some small changes, but no big changes. So let us get over it. First of all, I want to say the buffs, the balance buffs that Blizzard or the devs made in the past 10 days, 1 week, they helped to close, to make it a little bit more close together, all the specs. Still we have some outliers, like in a bad way Frost Mage and in a positive way Melee Hunter. But in general, I would say, as you can see, the gaps are a little bit less. This gap is here much less from the first to the second spec, and also the gap here from Rogue to Warrior that we had is kind of close, so it's definitely more balanced than before. That's the positive thing. Let's super quick go over this. The tier list, we make it right now. We should just start here in the bottom with Frost Mage. Is still the only spec that I would say don't go for it. Don't get me wrong, you can clear the raid with a Frost Mage, but as you can see, we're talking about half the damage that the Hunter is doing. That means you need 2 Frost Mage to compensate for 1 really good DPS at the end of the day. It was also here at the bottom, and then we have here a slight change. Enhancement was here a little bit more on top, and now they are super close together. The first, let me say the next 4 specs, Feral, Pala, Enhancement, and Marksman. That's also where we put them. We have here them together, Feral, Pala, Enhancer. Where's the Enhancer? And the, what was it? The Feral, Enhancement, Marksmanship, Hunter. Where is it? Here. They are super close together with Marksman on the bottom, followed by Enhancer, and then Paladin and Feral. As you can see, there is a little gap now to the next one. That's why I also choose to make here a gap, I would say. And then I think we have a... It's depending, but I would say I put the next one is Balanced Druid and Warrior. I put this sign for the Warrior. They are the only B tier, that means they are well balanced. Definitely you can have them in the raid. Also they bring some things with them that is maybe useful. For 1 or 2 bosses you can change a warrior to an off tank or whatever, just as an example. And then we have a strong A tier with Rogue Mage, Rogue Arcane Mage, and I take this sign for the Rogue, Arcane Mage, and Elemental Shaman. They are already pretty strong. But as you can see, if we have a big gap, then it's also between the A and the S tier. We have a very, very strong S tier at the moment with Shadow Priest. We talked about the rise of the Shadow Priest last week. Warlock, Fire Warlock in that special case, and Fire Mage. We have 3 very, very strong looking caster specs, which is good and kind of fair, because, you know, last phase was pretty tough for casters. Now we have 3 very strong caster specs, which is definitely because they got maybe better runes and stuff like this, also better adjustments, but also Gnomeregan has a lot of mechs. The mechs have a little bit more armor, I think even the double of the armor than a usual mob has, which is not that good for Warrior and Rogue and so on. Strangely, it doesn't matter for the Melee Hunter. He's still clearly on top of the list. And if you see now what changed from last week, not much, but we have some changes. Here is 5 specs here included. We had here 2 warrior specs, I think. Yeah, we had here 2 warrior specs, now it's only 1. That is definitely a change. And then Elemental Shaman is still on A tier. Okay, what the Mage made a jump and Balanced Druid lost a place, so that is the biggest change, I would say. That and that the gap is closed between, or pretty closed, between Warrior and Rogue. You could put Warrior and Balanced Druid also here, and then you could put them in B tier. You could also have it like this, don't get me wrong, and then only send help. for the Frost Mage. Maybe that is more in a positive way to say how the game is, to tell how the game is looking at the moment, because there is no big difference between a warrior and a rogue to make it look the same. So at the end of the day, the game is much better balanced than 2 weeks ago. We have here 95, just damage all. We can also damage 2 bosses. It doesn't change a lot, just to have a look here. Then you see a little gap, Elemental Shaman to Rogue. You can have it like you always wanted, damage overall, damage 2 bosses, but still you see Elemental Shaman is here the first on the A tier, and then followed by, so it's not changing a lot, just changing a little bit the difference of one spec to the other. But in general, as you can see, we don't need a C tier anymore, or we can put them here in C tier and leave it like this, that doesn't matter. The good thing is, game is much more balanced. I still think the outlier for me is super strange with the melee hunter. It's too overtuned. I also see it in PvP, in my opinion. Definitely too overtuned. Makes too much damage in a too short period of time, in my opinion. But yeah, it is like it is. Maybe they bring it in shape. Melee hunter nerving a little bit, melee hunter, and giving Frost Mage something that makes him worth it. But I have to say about a Frost Mage problem, you have Arcane Mage and you have Fire Mage, which are pretty good working. So that means you have 2 specs, you have 2 range caster specs that are doing at the end kind of the same, that frost damage, just on playing with frost, so it's not a need to bring it in shape. So the only thing, if I would have to criticize, is maybe the positive outlier of melee hunter, especially because we already had a very strong hunter in the last phase, so I don't know how this will continue with hunter going forward. Seems like a lot of Blizzard devs love hunter. They want to see it in a strong place, but this is how it looks at the moment, guys. Game is better balanced than a week before, that's the good news, but we still have some outliers, and the strange thing is caster overrun all the melee attack power specs besides melee hunter. Yeah, that's it for this week, guys. Have a good one, enjoy your raiding, good luck with the loot and everything, and I wish you the best. See you, bye bye.